Hi, I'm Mark Robinson. I'm the founder of Pilgrimage, the executive director of the Center for Creative Conflict Resolution. And this is a video about the 4 strategies that we all use to deal with conflict. I'm going to bring this up here, which we know don't work, but we try them anyway. In particular, what I'm going to be talking about today are the kinds of conflicts we have that are not really doesn't feel like a big conflict. It feels like an issue. Oftentimes a conflict we may be having with ourselves, but more commonly a conflict that we're having with somebody that we really care about, that we see as having some kind of struggle. They're dealing with something. This came up for me in a conversation last night in Living with Intention, where we were talking about how it is that we are impacted by trauma and how it is we deal with others when they are impacted by trauma, and how do we relate to them. We want them to be different. We want them to be healthy. We want to do what's good for them. But the same 4 things that we have been trained to do in any other context of our lives come out even around our relationships with the people that we're closest to. They're flavored a little bit differently. So it is in that context that I want to walk through these 4 disciplines with you in this video. So the first thing that we're going to do as we are relating to folks is that we're going to say it's none of my business. It's not that big a deal. I'm just going to, like water off a duck's back. I'm going to let this thing go. Right? And it is certainly true that right now is not necessarily a good time to deal with it. So maybe waiting is a good idea. And sometimes while we're waiting, something happens and we don't have to deal with it. Right? But waiting doesn't make it go away. And oftentimes what happens when we wait is it just gets to be a bigger deal. It grows and grows because it's not been attended to. All right, so it turns out that ignoring it doesn't actually go away, but I want to ignore it because I don't want to fight about it. I don't want to engage with this other person in a way that is going to make them feel like I'm in some sense putting them down, right? But fighting is something that we have to do. We want to be assertive in certain contexts, and there are contexts in which it is absolutely appropriate to try to be, in some sense, dominant. But when we act in ways that others will experience as trying to make them lose, they're going to respond by trying to make us lose. And we get into one of these, the Chinese finger puzzle. The harder we pull, the tighter it squeezes. So that's not going to work. We both lose. So anything that I do, however well-intentioned it is, that's going to cause the other person to feel as though they're losing, it's going to engender their resistance. Even if what I'm doing is really about making them have what they need, right? If I believe that the only way I'm going to get what I need is by getting others to change, then I get locked into trying to change them. And there are certainly some circumstances in which it is appropriate for us to try to get others to change. It may be our job. I may be a coach. I may be doing something where somebody's hired me to help them change. But outside of the context of a relationship in which the other has said, hey, I want you to help me change, anything that I do, if I don't have authority, is in fact going to have them digging their heels in. They're going to be less and less likely to change the more I try to get them to change. Right? Because what will come up is this whole thing of shame and blame. And basically what we're talking about here is that blame says it's your fault, right? Shame says you are bad. Neither one of us a particularly constructive way of dealing with the situation. So we want to avoid shame and blame. We can't control other people. We don't want to make them lose. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. So what we'll do, and this is probably the thing we will most often do in the relationships with people that we really care about, is we're going to take care of them. Because I'm not selfish. I'm going to do what is ultimately of benefit to someone else, right? Their needs are more important than mine are. And in some cases, that's true. Some cases, as a parent, I have to set aside my needs for my children's needs. That's part of what you do if you're a good dad or mom or in any kind of fiduciary role. There's this kind of sacrificial love that you do on behalf of others, right? But that doesn't mean I know what other people need. I may project onto myself what I would need if I were in their shoes. So I'm trying to meet what I think I would need. But if I'm taking care of somebody else, I'm not taking care of me. And it turns out that the opposite of being self-centered is not being other-centered or centered in others. It's being centered in myself. When I know who I am, I know where it is that I'm coming from, I know where my center is, when I'm acting on my own behalf, then I can do something that's genuinely of benefit to others. So ignoring it doesn't make it go away. Fighting about it just makes us lose. Controlling others, even no matter how benign our intent, is going to engender their resistance. And caretaking means I'm not taking care of me, I'm taking care of somebody else, giving them what I think they need when it's not what they asked for. And they're certainly not going to respond to me by taking care of me, which was sort of the idea, when I was being manipulative. So these are all things that we're taught to do. Our culture has taught us this is what you do to deal with conflicts, because in certain circumstances, these are actually good things to do. The question is, in this instance, is it a good thing to do? So if this isn't what we do, then what do we do? What is something we can do that's actually going to work? So instead, we can create what we need in the context of the relationship. This requires that I actually know what it is that I need and that I know how to bring it into fulfillment within the context of that relationship. But I have to know what I need as a quality and that I can move towards. There may be some event I'm trying to create, some strategy, but if I don't already have in mind what is the quality that I'm looking to create, I'm just as likely to do something that leads in a different direction. So what is it that I need, and what can I do that will actually create that quality? Because if that quality is missing in the relationship, for me, it's missing in the relationship. And so other people need it too. I'm not being selfish, I'm being centered in myself. So what I do is I show up in the relationship in a manner that speaks the truth in a helpful way. Now, I have a 30 video series on speaking the truth in a helpful way. So if you want to know more about that, check the YouTube channel, right? But it's a way of showing up that allows others to benefit from our courage and our honesty. And if I'm really struggling with somebody about this, and I'm going to change me in a way that benefits them, they damn well don't deserve it. So I may resist my own well-being because it's going to help somebody else. Sometimes we call that cutting off your nose to spite your face. So I have to allow the other person to benefit from the work that I am doing and not have any expectation that they are going to change. Wait. I thought the point was to get them to change. No, we can't change anybody else. I have enough trouble changing me. As soon as what I'm doing, it comes with the intention of getting them to change, I'm engendering resistance. The trick is, how do I speak the helpful truth, recognizing that it's going to be of benefit to them, having absolutely no expectation that they are going to change? How's that going to benefit them? Well, it's going to benefit them by creating a relationship in which those needs are actually met. So, this is extremely difficult to do because we have been trained to ignore it, fight about it, control others, and caretake. Those will be our default responses. It's only by making a very conscious act to say, okay, I'm going to do something that actually is centered in me, transforming me in the relationship such that the other benefits, and I'm not trying to change them. All right? Now, as I said, there are other videos available. We'll talk about this within Living with Intention. You may be watching this at some other time. Connect with me if you need more help with this. All right, take care.